Here's a few stats. Ukraine ranks first in Europe in proven recoverable reserves of uranium ores. Number one in all of Europe. Second place in Europe and 10th place in the world in terms of titanium ore reserves, okay? Second place in the world in terms of explored reserves of manganese ores, 2.3 billion tons, or 12% of the world's reserves. Second largest iron ore reserves in the world, that's 30 billion tons, okay? Second place in Europe in terms of mercury ore reserves. Third place in Europe, 13th place in the world in shale gas reserves. Fourth in the world by the total value of natural resources. Seventh place in the world in coal reserves. That's 33.9 billion tons. So people have, I can go on and on and on about other things, but agricultural power, you know, food needs of what they can do. They can meet the food needs of 600 million people. This is a very important country in an industrialized country. This is not some small country we're talking about that none of us know about because we're going about our business. You're trying to be a realtor. Someone's doing you're a nurse, you're a doctor. You're not thinking about the stats, but Putin knows who Ukraine is and they want him back. So it's a battle right now. On the west side of Ukraine, a bigger part of it, they're more pro-Ukraine. On the eastern side of Ukraine, they speak Russian. They're more tied to Russia. They follow more what Putin has to say. The left side is more, the western side is following a little bit more of what European has to say. They want to be part of EU. They want to be part of NATO. So that's some of the stuff that's going on there. It's important for us to know those things. A couple other facts that we need to know. 1 in 6 Ukrainian is ethnic Russian, okay? 1 in 6. 1 in 3 speaks Russian as a native language. So now, all this stuff said and done, even though what Putin says in a way does make sense, you're a part of us, this has been a part of us, we did a deal, we want you to come back, this belongs to Russia, and let's just say you have a few kids with your ex-wife, but your ex-wife has kind of moved on. She has kids, it's been a long time. It's not like it's fresh off a divorce. This is not a fresh divorce. This is a 31-year divorce that took place. And in 31 years, emotions change. Relationships change. A lot of that stuff changes. Now, let's go to another place that we're going with this whole thing and what their outcome is. So they want to capitalize everything that's going on over there, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Will this work? Is this strategy of what Putin's trying to do work? Well, Biden today, when they were doing a press conference just 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago, he was saying the sanctions, all this other stuff. They're asking the questions afterwards. And he asked questions from everybody. There was a moment he was about to be quick and a little bit sarcastic with the Fox News guy that he called the son of a bitch or stupid son of a bitch. Ducey. But he was very respectful of him. You can tell they had a call together. Yeah. Is it Peter Ducey?
Yeah, Peter Ducey, right? Yeah.
Peter Ducey, yeah. So one of the people asked the question saying, so have you put any sanctions on Putin yet? He says, not yet. We haven't gone to those measures. Okay. So these sanctions, do you think it's going to work? I do think it's going to work. Why do you think it's going to work? Because when the economy is affected and people feel the pain, they're going to eventually get to him and say, hey, we cannot go with the way that we're going right now. We have to make some changes. Okay. He says, do you think that, a person asked, do you think this could lead to the next Cold War? He says, I don't think so. Why not? Because 2/3 of the world agrees with us. Great point, by the way. So for some of the people that are like NATO is a part of us, that we're on the same page. EU is part of not wanting to see this happen. Their neighbors, they definitely don't want to see this happen. And then they asked the question about India. Are you on the same page with India? Have you guys had the call? He says, we haven't had the call with India yet. We're going to have it later on today. So I don't know why India, because, you know, India has never been not good with China. And if you're not good with China, China's good with Russia. So it's kind of interesting why we're not talking to India, because they're a pretty important ally for you to have a conversation with. Maybe they just haven't had it yet. They'll have it this afternoon. But there was one question I was asked. And the question was, you know, are you urging China to help isolate Russia? This was exactly the question. I'm giving you the quote of the question. Are you urging China to help isolate Russia? This was Biden's answer. I'm not prepared to comment on that at this moment. What do you mean by that? Because what does China and Russia have in common? they both have an X that they want back. One of the X's for Russia is Ukraine. An X for China is who? Taiwan. They want them back. So is there a wink deal behind closed doors between Xi and Putin saying, you take that, I'll back you up, but when I take Taiwan, you better back me up? Is that what's going to happen? Because as this whole thing's been going on, and we saw China picked up Hong Kong just recently, so it's not like 50 years ago, it's just a couple years ago when that happened. We saw Taliban pick back up Afghanistan, okay, because a lot of people are seeing what's going on. So what does this lead to? Here's what one of the speculations you're hearing from different people on what they're saying. The speculation you're hearing that, hey, why is Trump supporting, Putin? I don't know if you saw what Trump said about Putin in a quote saying, hey, did you see the quote, what he said about Putin? He says, I applaud him about the decision. He's taking advantage of the opportunity right now. What do you mean by that? I mean, what do you mean by that, to make a comment like that? Are you saying he's doing the right thing? Or is it, I respect him for capitalizing off this opportunity? So is there an opportunity? Well, let's weigh this part out. What is the opportunity? Okay, so a few months ago, we were doing a podcast, and on that podcast, we talked about the fact that, you know, a girl dates a guy, and this guy always made her feel safe, okay? But he was a very serious guy, but he made her feel safe and made her feel secure. Anyways, she eventually leaves him for a pretty boy, nice guy, because she says, I just don't want to deal with a guy like this. I want to date somebody that's a little bit more, you know, easygoing, chill, attractive. So she goes and dates this pretty boy. Anyways, they go to a bar. In the bar, a fight breaks out, and the pretty boy backs up, and he's not protecting her. And the ex is there, and the girlfriend goes back to her ex because the ex is making her feel safer than the current boyfriend, pretty boy. Well, why are you going back to your ex? So a lot of people are saying, if Trump was president today, would this have happened? Well, we definitely don't know that. But some people on the right are saying, everybody thought Trump was going to start World War III. Well, did he? When Trump was president, did anything happen with ISIS? We never once heard about ISIS. Did anything happen with, you know, North Korea? Because one time North Korea, I saw that tweet today where North Korea said, I have my finger on the button, okay? It's always next to me. And then Trump retweets and responds back to, you know, North Korea, what's his name?
Kim Jong-un.
And he says, I also have the button right next to me all the time, except my button is bigger and my button actually works, right? You remember when Trump said that to North Korea? And people are like, well, you can't say something like that because you're kind of poking the bear. And what if he does that? But the other guy on the other side, like, shit, he kind of does have access to the same thing. And if I do anything, he's going to destroy my entire country and have nothing.